So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Samuel. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Victor the Analyst. So, today we are going to be talking about slicer, how to design a slicer. But before we go into the tutorial for today, please, I really want to encourage us to subscribe to my YouTube channel, to like the video, and to comment. You can comment and tell me which other video you want me to create. So without much ado, let's dive into the tutorial for today. So what is slicer? Slicer is actually used for filtering your data. That's just the whole concept of slicer. It's used for filtering your data. So I'll go to insert, then I'll go to slicer. I'll click on slicer. So I'll choose on data model, then I'll choose on this and I'll click on open. Yeah, so we have this. So the next step is we want our age range, attrition, and departments. We want to fit our data based on these three um, data. So I'll right click here, then I'll go to report connection. So let me drag this up and I'll check this and I'll click on OK. So right click here, report connection. So let me drag this up and click on OK. So I'll right click here, go to report connections. So I'll drag this up, then I'll check this and I'll click on OK. So now that we're good now. So let's start designing our slicer. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, so let me bring this up. So you come down here, you click on new slicer style. So you have this. So now let me explain all this part. This is what we have here. So the slicer has to do with the background. It has to do with the background of the slicer. So the header has to do with up here, like top here. This top that we have here, where we have the departments and something like the attrition and age range. So the selected item with data. The selected item with data is the selected button that has data. That is selected button with data. So it's selected button with data. So the unselected item with data, which is this. I'm talking about this now, which is unselected item with data. Unselected item with data is unselected button with data. So what do I mean by unselected button with data? So I would just cancel this as I'm explaining one that I'm going back and forth. So the unselected item with data. So now I actually talked about the selected item with data. So if I click here, the item becomes my selected item with data, while um the rest data you have here, which is the marketing, production, and sales, becomes the unselected item with data, because they are not selected items. So they are unselected button with data. So that's it. So let's go back to this and let's continue. I've talked about selected item with data and unselected item with data. So I'm going to talk about selected item with no data. So now selected item with data means that, this here that you have here, this is what we call no data, meaning there is no data for this slicer, for this button that we have here. There is no slicer for this button. So in that case, this is called no data there. So once I select it, it becomes selected item with no data, which is selected button with no data. So that's it. So the next one is unselected item with no data. Unselected item with no data. So this is unselected item with no data. Remember I said that once I select this, it becomes selected item with no data. But now that I've not selected it, it's become unselected item with no data. Means that unselected button with no data. So I've explained down all these down to this point. Now the next one is hovered selected item with data, but I don't want to come down to that over selected item with this. I will still come back to that. So for this few one that I've explained, which is the O slicer, the header, the selected item with data, let's do that. Let's just do some tweaking and some changing. So I'll go to format. So I want to edit the O slicer style. So I'm just going to change this to this color. I'm not going to change the font, just the background that I want to change. So I'm changing it to this color. Just want to have it to have the same color with what we have in our background. Then I'll click on OK. So note it's not going to change yet. It's not going to change yet. But we'll still come back to that. So you can see all your preview. This is what you have here in the preview. So let me go to my header. So in the header section, I want to edit what we have here. So I will just click on format. I won't change just only the font, the fill. I'll change only the fill. The font, I can actually change the font to bold. Then I'll change the color to this color or change something lighter. Then I'll click on OK. Did I change? I'll click on OK. Sorry. Click on OK. Now that's good. You can see this thing is changing. Now the selected item with data. I told us the selected item with data. This is my selected item with data because this is the button I have selected. So it's become the selected item with data. That's what I'm going to first change. So I'll change this, meaning that once I click on a button, what the color do you want me to show? So on the fill, we're going to change it to green, dark green, and the fonts we're going to use this color, light green color. We're going to make this bold. Yeah, now click on OK. Good. So the next one is selected item with no data. Selected item with no data. Like I said before, this is unselected item with no data. Means that unselected item, that is unselected button with no data. So but if I select this, it becomes selected item with no data. So that means if I select this, which color do you want me to show? The reason why it shows us no data because this is gray house. Now let's look at this. Oh, I cannot move that. You can, if you can peep through here, we can see that from 33 to 36, we don't have it under our age range, meaning that there is no data for this button. So let me click here and then click on format. So for the fonts, we're going to change the color to this color here. Then we click on bold. Then the fill, which is I would not want to change that, but just for learning sake, I'll change that so we can see how this color changes. I can just make it red. Yeah, let me make it. Oh, probably let me just make it this color. That means no data, no color, no. Okay, let me make it red. And then just for learning sake, you can actually come back and you can tweak it and use the color you want. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'll make this one black. Yeah, I'll click on OK. Now the unselected item with data means that unselected button with data. This is my unselected button with data because I did not select this. This is the IT that I selected. Is the unselected button with data. Which color do you want me to be showing? If you select the IT, what other colors and the font do you want to be, the button to be showing? What design do you want the button to be showing? So I would click on my format, then I'll change the what's it called, the fill. I'll change the fill to a light green and change the font to this. Yeah, then I'll click on OK. Now good. Now, the unselected item with no data means that unselected button with no data. Unselected button with no data. This is my unselected button with no data. Unselected button with no data. Which color do you want me to be showing? So I'll select this and I'll format. I'm going to make use as red too as well. I'll make that red. I'll make the font to be black and I'll click on OK. Good. Now the over selected item with data. I've explained, having explained in this one, I believe that we'll be able to understand what selected item with data means. The over means that when you move your mouse on this button, which effect do you want it to be showing? So if I hover my mouse on selected button with data, selected button with data item media, I'm just saying selected button with data. So if I hover my mouse on, this is my selected item with data, which you can see that selected button with data. What effects do you want me to show? So I will select this, then I'll give it a bit of different effect. I'll give it a color that is a little bit lighter from the font. I'll make the font to be this color. I'll make it bold and I'll make click on OK. Now good. Now the over selected item with no data. Selected item with no data. Meaning that if I select this one, it become my selected item with no data. Because it's unselected, it is unselected item with data. It is unselected item with no data, but once I select it, it becomes selected item with no data. That means once I select that button. So let me just click here and edit. I'm going to choose red. The font, I'll leave it as black. I'll choose a bit of touch of red, and let me choose this color. No, choose this color light red, and I click on OK. Now select over unselected item with data. Now unselected item with data. This is my unselected item with data. This is unselected item with data. You understand? So I'm going to change. What color do you want me to change to show once I'm hovering my mouse on this? So I'll just click on format. I would use something like this as my fill. Then I'll go to my fonts. I'll make this to be green. And I'll click on OK. Yeah, there we go. Um, think we are done. Select this and click on OK. Now it's not going to change, but we've actually created the design we want. Then I'll select this. So you see, so let me select this as well and select this. Click here, and I would select the design. You can see now this is this is showing me my unselected item with no data. So if I move my mouse on unselected item with no data, this color is showing. If I move my mouse on this, you can see how it is changing. You see how it's changing. So let me just cancel this slicer. You can see. So now the color has changed for this person here because now there's a data on this for this button. So if I click on yes, let's see what's going to happen. You can see all this data here does not have a data in them. So that's why you can see that it is red. Actually change that to red. So that's how you can actually design your slicer. So I'm going to arrange these and put them into this confined area. So this is what I'll first do. I'll right click here, then I'll go to my slicer style, then I'll uncheck the display header and I'll click on OK. So I will just come up here. I'll the column, I'm gonna make it 5, and I'll click on enter. So good. So I will just arrange this and click here and I'll bring that here. Okay. All right. So let me just click here and just click that here. So let me right click here and then my slicer style. I'll check this and come up here. I'll change my column to 2 onto it 2. Then I'll just adjust this. I would change this. I will take this to this place. Let me just make it small. I will just make it small a little bit. Let me see if I can just adjust this a little bit inside. Okay, there we go. I'll drag this down a little bit and drag this outside bit. Okay, good. So let me just drag this up. Just make this up a little bit so it can be in the same direction. Okay, good. So I will just right click here and go to my slicer style, then uncheck this. Um, okay, and then come up here. I'll make this to be 4. Okay, it's enter. So I would just extend this and I'll click and bring here. So thank you very much. So this is how to design your slicer. So I hope you find this very educative, and then please don't forget to like and then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please forward this video to your colleagues in at work or people that is into data analysis. I really appreciate so much. And if you have any video you want me to create, please you can actually try to reach out to me on through the comment section. Thank you very much and thank you for your time. Yeah.